Before you hear this story, pause for just a moment. Because stories like this don't come to you by accident. They arrive quietly, at the exact moment you're ready to understand them. So before we go any further, subscribe. Not because you have to, but because stories like this, the quiet ones, the ones people don't usually say out loud, they matter. And once you step into one, it's hard to walk away unchanged. My name is Nora Hayes. I'm 32 years old, and for a long time, I believed I had everything. A stable marriage, a beautiful home, a life that made sense. From the outside, it looked complete. But there was one thing no one could see. I felt invisible, not ignored, not unloved, just unseen. I married Daniel when I was 26. He was dependable, thoughtful in a quiet way, the kind of man people trust instantly. Life with him was easy, predictable, safe, and, in the beginning, that felt like everything I needed. We built a life, step by step, carefully, without mistakes. A house that always looked perfect, a routine that never broke. We didn't fight, we didn't argue, we didn't fall apart, but we also stopped growing. It didn't happen all at once. It happened slowly, so slowly. I didn't even notice when it started. Conversations became shorter, laughter became quieter, moments became routine. We still talked, but not about things that mattered. Did you pay the bill? What time is your meeting? We stopped asking each other how we felt, and I told myself, this is what marriage becomes: comfort, routine, stillness. But there's a difference between peace and silence, and I didn't realize which one I was living in until one day, someone noticed me. His name was Adrian, and no, it didn't start the way you think. There was no instant attraction, no dramatic moment, just something small, almost forgettable. A conversation, a question, a pause, where someone actually listened. And that's when everything began to change. Not loudly, not suddenly, but quietly, in ways I didn't understand yet. Because the truth is, the most dangerous choices don't feel like choices at all. They feel like inevitable steps, and you don't realize where they're leading until you're already too far to turn back. There's a moment in every story like this where everything becomes clear. Not all at once, not loudly, but quietly. Like a truth you can't ignore anymore. For me, that moment came on a Tuesday evening. Nothing special about it. No dramatic setup. Just an ordinary day that refused to stay ordinary. Daniel was sitting at the dining table, his laptop open, his attention somewhere else. I stood in the doorway for a second, watching him, really watching him, and I realized something that I had been avoiding for months. He hadn't changed. Not really. He was still the same man I married. Steady, reliable, present in the ways he understood. The difference was me. Somewhere along the way, I had stopped showing up, not completely, but enough to disappear in the spaces that mattered. That night, I didn't go to the couch. I didn't turn on the TV. I sat across from him. "Can we talk?" He looked up, surprised. "Of course," he said. And for a second, I almost changed my mind. Because saying the truth out loud makes it real. And once it's real, you can't take it back. But I stayed. "I feel distant," I said slowly. The words felt heavy, unfamiliar. He frowned slightly. "Distant?" I nodded. "Not from you, just everything." It wasn't the full truth, but it was the closest I could get to it. Silence filled the room. Not the usual kind. This one meant something. "When did this start?" he asked quietly. I didn't have an answer. Because the truth was, it didn't start. It built, slowly, quietly, until it became something I couldn't ignore. "I don't know," I admitted. And for the first time, that felt honest. Daniel leaned back slightly. "Processing. I thought we were okay," he said. And that was the hardest part. Because we were. Just not completely. "I thought so too," I whispered. The silence returned. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was full of things we had never said. That night, we talked longer than we had in years. Not about schedules, not about responsibilities, but about us. What we had become, what we had stopped being. And for the first time, we saw it clearly. The distance, the routine, The quiet disconnect. Not because we didn't care, but because we stopped trying. Somewhere along the way, we chose comfort over connection, and neither of us noticed until it was already there. Days passed after that conversation. Things didn't magically fix themselves, because real change doesn't happen overnight. It happens in choices, small ones, repeated over time. I created distance at work. Not dramatically, not suddenly, but intentionally, because I understood something now that I didn't before. Adrian wasn't the problem. He was the signal, the reflection of something missing, something I had ignored. And once I saw that, I couldn't pretend anymore. It wasn't about choosing between two people. It was about choosing myself, the version of me that I had lost. Weeks later, I found myself sitting in the same living room, same couch, same space. But something felt different. Not perfect, but real. Daniel sat beside me, not distracted this time, present. We didn't say much, but we didn't need to, because for the first time in a long time, we were actually there, together, and I realized something that stayed with me. I wasn't lonely because I was with the wrong person. I was lonely because I had stopped being present in my own life. And once you disappear from yourself, everything else starts to feel empty too. The truth is, loneliness doesn't always come from being alone. Sometimes it comes from being unseen, even by yourself. And sometimes the most important thing you can do is not find someone new, but find your way back to who you used to be. Because in the end, that's the only place real connection begins. And once you understand that, everything changes.